Hello, good day. Our subject for today is teaching social studies in the elementary grades. Again, good day and welcome to my online class. I am Ma'am April. For today's video, we will discuss the powerful, purposeful pedagogy in elementary school social studies. So this is the position statement from the early childhood and elementary community and members of the National Council for the Social Studies Board of Directors. The advancement of liberty and justice for all, as envisioned by the country's founders, requires that citizens have the knowledge, attitudes, and values to both guard and endorse the principles of a constitutional democracy. Beginning to build this knowledge at an early age involves educators who are well grounded in social studies educational practice. Social studies at the elementary level should provide students with purposeful and meaningful learning experiences that are challenging, of high quality, developmentally appropriate, and reflective of contemporary social and diverse global realities. If the young learners of this nation are to become effective participants in a democratic society, then social studies must be an essential part of the curriculum throughout the elementary years. In a world that demands independent and cooperative problem solving to address complex social, economic, ethical, and personal concerns, core social studies content is as basic for success of reading, writing, and computing. Knowledge, skills, and attitudes necessary for informed and thoughtful participation in society require a systematically developed elementary program focused on a concept from four core social studies disciplines: the civics, the economics, geography, and history. Our global community owes children opportunities to explore the variety and complexity of human experience through a dynamic and meaningful education. When children are grounded in democratic principles, immersed in age appropriate democratic strategies, and engage in meaningful inquiry, they construct the foundation skills and prepare them to participate respectfully and intelligently in a nation and world marked by globalization, interdependence, human diversity, and societal change. Now let's discuss the purpose of elementary social studies. The purpose of elementary school social studies is to enable students to understand, participate in, and make informed decisions about the world. Social studies content allows young learners to explain relationships with other people, to institutions, and to the environment that equips them with knowledge and understanding of the past. It provides them with skills for productive problem solving and decision making as well as for assessing issues and making thoughtful value judgments. Above all, it integrates these skills and understanding into a framework for responsible citizen participation locally, nationally, and globally. The teaching and learning processes within social studies are uniquely organized to develop these capabilities beginning with the youngest learners in our schools. The expanding communities or the curriculum model of self, family, community, state, and nation is insufficient for today's young learners. Elementary social studies should include civic engagement as well as knowledge from the core content areas of civics, economics, geography, and history. Skills that enhance critical thinking, socio-emotional development, pro-social skills, interpersonal interactions, and information literacy are more meaningful and useful when developed within the context of social studies. The infusion of technology into elementary social studies also prepares students as active and responsible citizens in the 21st century. Digital citizenship must become a priority in our schools even for the youngest learners. Next, let us discuss the position on powerful and purposeful elementary social studies. Teaching and learning in the elementary classroom should be meaningful, integrative, value-based, challenging, and active. These qualities of powerful social studies learning are a foundation to the development of children's knowledge, skills, and disposition as participating citizens in a global society. First, meaningful. In order for social studies instruction to be meaningful, teachers must understand and meet the needs of their children or their students. At every grade level, teachers should capacitate or capitalize on the diversity and natural interests of their students in the world around them. By building on students' skills and experiences, teachers can design learning events that challenge students to make meaningful connections and expand their knowledge and viewpoints. In social studies, as in any knowledge domain, learners benefit from having a variety of ways to understand a given concept. Increasingly, elementary teachers have students of diverse backgrounds and differing abilities in the classes, making differentiated instruction and culturally relevant pedagogy necessarily in order to meet individual needs. Successful early childhood or elementary teachers possess both a command of the subject matter and the ability to engage students in the learning process through a variety of developmental appropriate instructional practices and methodologies. The elementary social studies curriculum should be more than a collective and enjoyable experiences. A piecemeal approach to social studies programming can result in a disconnected conglomeration of activities and teaching methods that lack focus, coherence, and comprehensiveness. Exclusive focus on food, fun, festivals, flags, and films is not an effective framework for social studies teaching and learning. Meaningful teaching requires reflective planning, instruction, and assessment around specific social studies concepts, skills, and big ideas. Next is integrative. Social studies is integrative by nature. Powerful social studies teaching crosses disciplinary boundaries to address topics in a ways that promote social understanding and civic efficacy. It also integrates knowledge, skills, and dispositions with authentic actions. When children pursue a project or investigation, they encounter many problems and questions based on civics, economics, geography, and history. With teacher guidance, children can actively explore both the processes and concepts of social studies while simultaneously exploring other content areas. Specialized social studies, academic vocabulary and concepts should be developed and integrated into the curriculum. Students cannot internalize vocabulary for use unless teachers model it and use it in the classroom discussion. Effective practice does not limit social studies to one specified period or time of day. Rather, teachers can help children develop social studies knowledge by capitalizing on teachable moments throughout the day and across the curriculum. Children's everyday activities and routines can be used to introduce and develop important civic ideas. Integrating social studies throughout the day eases completion or competition for the time in an increasingly crowded curriculum. With a strong interdisciplinary curriculum, teachers find ways to promote children's competence in social sciences, literacy, mathematics, and other subjects within integrated learning experiences. Learning experiences reach across the disciplinary boundaries, example, integrating history and geography, as well as subjects like social studies and English language arts. As valuable as integration is within elementary curriculum, it is not the end in itself. Teachers should ensure that the social studies experiences woven throughout the curriculum follow logical sequences, allow for depth and focus, and help young learners move forward in their acquisition of knowledge and skills. The curriculum should not become, in the pursuit of integration, a grab of bag of random social studies experiences that are related marginally to the theme or a project. Rather, concepts should be developed to assure coherence and meaning. The development and implementation of purposeful and powerful integrative social studies is dependent on teachers who have been given the time and resource necessary to engage in the decision-making process, essentially to thoughtful planning. This will allow for better selection of content, resources, activities, and assessments for the classroom. Now let's go to value-based. Young learners do not become responsible, participating citizens automatically. They need to engage in frequent opportunities to make daily decisions about democratic concepts and principles that are respectful of dignity and right of individuals and the common good. They need to participate in learning experiences that involve core values of democracy, including freedom of speech and thought, equality of opportunity, justice, and diversity. In other words, the voices of elementary students must be heard and taken seriously. This learning transcends the simplicity or simplistic character virtues approach to values education in elementary school. Thoughtful and deliberate classroom engagement related to controversial or ethical issues provides opportunity for elementary students to practice critical thinking skills while examining multiple perspectives. So elementary teachers should create opportunities for students to discuss values, engage in real world problem solving, weigh cost and benefits, consider opportunity cost, and make rational and reasoned decisions. Challenging elementary school social studies can pave the way for lifelong learning and active citizenship. Teachers should provide students opportunity for in-depth investigation of concepts that challenge and engage them. Challenging social studies instructions includes research, debates, discussions, projects of all varieties including the arts, and stimulations that require application of critical thinking skills. Instead of simply reading and answering questions from textbooks, elementary students should be taught to inquire, question, evaluate, and challenge informational sources. Teachers should ask young children compelling questions that stimulate decision making, problem solving, and issue analysis. And the last is active. In effective social studies programs, elementary teachers use a variety of approaches, strategies, technology, and material to support children's interests and abilities. As new information for skills are presented, teachers facilitate discourse and students consider new ideas and assimilate multiple perspectives. Process such as problem solving, debates, simulations, project-based learning, and role-playing are active strategies that can lead to new opportunities for student discovery and engagement. Teachers decide when to take the lead during instruction and when to support the students' leadership in learning. They guide and facilitate rather than dictate learning. Now let's go to recommendations for implementing powerful and purposeful elementary social studies. Effective elementary social studies instruction requires continuous support for successful student learning. Teachers need adequate preparation for professional development, daily instruction time, ample resources, and assistance at the local, state, and national levels. Now, let's go to enhance, or number one is enhance the effectiveness of elementary teacher preparation and continuing professional development. If the status of elementary social studies education is to improve them, to improve. Then the education of teachers who have the responsibility for teaching those children will be a critical factor. Elementary teachers need sufficient content knowledge in the core disciplines and processes of social studies, skill in using a variety of teaching and assessment strategies, and the ability to locate, evaluate, and use appropriate resources. Examples of active learning projects that are rich in content and exciting for children are published in the NCSS Journal of Social Studies and Young Learners. Teachers also need to understand the characteristics and abilities of young children and how to differentiate social studies content and skills for diverse learners. Elementary teachers should also need the ability to integrate social studies with other curricular areas. As essential as all of this, social studies can be brought to life only when teachers themselves have positive attitudes about social studies. If teachers understand the importance of social studies in the early years, they are more likely to transfer their enthusiasm for social studies to their students. Ongoing professional development is also necessary for teachers to develop and monitor the curriculum. Resources are needed to support teachers' involvement in professional conferences, college courses, webinars, and podcasts, and visit to educational sites. So effective professional development should model the kind of flexible, interactive teaching styles and instructional strategies that work well with children. Next, devote time and resources to instruct elementary students in social studies. A specific daily block of time should be allocated for social studies equivalent to that provided for other core content. To support effective teaching and learning, social studies enrich classrooms, require a wide array of materials for young children to explore and manipulate. Equity requires that all programs have these resources, including visual images of diverse people and materials representing multiple perspectives. 21st century skills and technologies should be utilized to further enhance students' learning. Next is collaborate on developing well-aligned systems of appropriate high-quality standards, curriculum, and assessment. In the era of accountability, developing quality elementary social studies curricula and assessment requires collaboration among multiple stakeholders, including teacher leaders, administrators, school districts, and professional organizations and government education agencies. Effective standard setting efforts involve coupling social studies in standards with opportunities for children to learn in developmental appropriate way, not just with expectations of their performance. So both formative assessment that enhances student learning and summative assessment of student learning should be aligned with curriculum and standards. The last is advocate for quality social studies education at local, state, and national levels. Elementary teachers must be explicit in advocating for social studies inside and outside of the classroom or school. So teachers need opportunities to be involved in the decisions that determine dedicated instructional time by grade level and what is taught in the social studies, how social studies is taught, and what resources will be used. They should encourage to participate in local and national or even international discussions on the future of elementary social studies education. Now, for the conclusion, success in the 21st century requires the ability to make rational decisions both independently and collectively. These abilities are not innate but are nurtured and developed through intentionally and carefully planned experiences. Students must have ample opportunities to practice social studies skills and concepts in multiple contexts. The social studies are as basic for the success as reading, writing, mathematics, and science. If the young learners of this nation are to understand their roles and become effective participants in democratic society, social studies must be an essential part of the elementary curriculum. State and the country's policies must provide the time, resources, and professional development necessary to support exemplary social studies education. The democratic tradition of this country deserves an equal place in the elementary classroom. And the founders of this country would expect nothing less. So again, this is taken from the position statement and was edited by the committee from the early childhood and elementary community and members of the NCSS Board of Directors and was approved by the NCSS Board of Directors. And here is our reference. Thank you for watching and always stay safe. Ganbate kodasai, meaning please always do your best.